Hello everybody and welcome back to Grand Bazaar. We are here for yet another bazaar day. And not even the last one of the month. We actually get an extra one this month just because of how the days line up, which is nice. I've been busy. I've just been continuing to grow things, and so I've got a lot of stuff to pick from. I've done a lot of cooking, and rather than start things off right at 6 a.m. today, I delayed things a little bit, so we'll go to the bazaar a little sooner than usual. I've already taken care of all of the animals, and I've done most of my inventory management. I am probably still going to do a little bit of cooking before we go, but as you can see, I've made a lot of different dishes. I have some bugs to bring for the girls. I also actually have a few fish. I've got some gems, my seeds, as well as a necklace. So just for good measure, I'll go ahead and make some more turnip salads. You can see that I have many different crops in all different qualities because I've been using fertilizer on them to get them through different stages. And the higher the better because we can use those in our basement later on if we decide not to change the season. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that yet. If I'm going to keep it in the spring season or not, but I'll kind of cross that bridge when I get there. We still have stuff growing down there. And the season is going to kind of start to wind down because we only have 8 days left. So there's going to get to be a point soon where I'm not actually going to replant anything because I'm not going to have time to grow it all in time. So it's kind of just one last push to grow everything. But I think spring overall has been pretty successful. I'm pretty happy with how things have been going. And just because I have time and I have space, I'm going to go ahead and pick up some flowers along the way as well. There's going to be a stop to those unique spring flowers when we get into summer, so still trying to hoard those and fill my pockets as much as possible. And of course I don't have space now that I'm here. Let's go ahead and just dump an item randomly and pick it back up in one moment. We can see that I actually have more necklaces over here in our windmill, and I've managed to make one of each. I have a purple, a black, and a blue. But seeing as how I have 2 gems with me and a necklace for today's bazaar, I think it's actually a good idea just to leave these here. Now that the sales goal has increased by so much, rather than get really high sales during one bazaar, I think it's a wiser idea to have necklaces and gems and more expensive things to fall back on each and every bazaar if possible. I think that will make it so that we're still relatively consistent with keeping in the goal. If that makes sense, hopefully that makes sense. I did leave myself space, but then I went and picked up all of those flowers. So now I don't have space anymore. I guess I'll just sacrifice this fish. Not that they sell for much anyways. I'll go ahead and throw it back into the water. Hopefully that doesn't count as littering. I don't know if it does. There was no one around to see it anyways, so it's okay. Now, hopefully, with the amounts that I've brought today, we will be able to sell food all day long. Because I have not only a lot of food, but I have pretty good quantities of food as well. So, fingers crossed. I'm gonna go ahead and start out with those few items I've picked out. Some food, some wool, a tea can, and hopefully I can get rid of the last little bit of my seeds, my yellow pepper seeds. And I don't know if I will grow those in the fall, because it's taken me almost an entire year to get through all of the seeds that I made from last fall. Which is amazing when you think about it. I grew those in fall and they're still making me money in spring, which is definitely a good thing. It's definitely a good strategy to have some stuff to fall back on. But I might have more options for stuff to grow this fall. And I'm thinking way ahead of myself because we aren't even into the summer yet. And in our first hour, we've made 30k. Pretty respectable. A lot of people buying up our grass seeds, which is fantastic. That's a really, really quick money maker if you have a bunch of people buying them all up. And if it carries on like this, then I think we are in for a really successful bazaar day. And this lady will pay double for this item. Thank you, ma'am. Manners go a long way sometimes, although in this game it seems like most of the customers don't have manners. We put up with a lot working in customer service, as anybody who's worked customer service will tell you. Not easy dealing with people. And I used up some of my oil that I bought from Chen's last time to make up some omelets. I can also make mayonnaise in our windmill, which I might do because it would also use up some of those eggs without the need for milk, which would be good. I have to look up the value of mayonnaise. I don't recall it actually selling for a lot, but I don't know that we've actually made any up to this point. And we're slowly selling out of stuff, but I like the way the things are moving along here so far. I don't feel like I'm selling out of things so quickly that I'm going to run out of items early on in the day. And I haven't even started to dig out my really, really valuable items. And it's still early in the day. I still have lots of stuff to sell. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. We did manage to place first last time, but it was a bit of a close call. I think we only won first by about $20,000. Which is, of course, really highly unusual for us. But since they changed the sales goal, it is definitely going to be a little bit more challenging for us. But I like a challenge. And we have a lot of time to tinker with things to find a good balance and to figure out what works for us. Because we need to make millions upon millions of dollars to actually complete this game and get the biggest bazaar in the world. An even $99,000. We're almost at the 100,000 mark. And from there, I think making 50k is not going to be too terribly difficult. I'm going to quickly put some stuff out here before people walk by. And at this point, I guess we are starting to get a little bit low on items. I'm almost out of food, which is good. It means the food is popular, and it is nice to get rid of the stuff that has a freshness value. I also managed to get rid of a bag of pepper seeds. Yay! I'm in a good charitable mood today, Ivan, so I will give you a deal. I don't need your couple of extra $100 to achieve my goals, I think. And I guess at this point I can start sprinkling in some gems here. I can also put out my strawberry seeds. I will put out my last fish. So almost 3 o'clock. We still have 3 hours left. So that's plenty of time. And it hasn't felt too stressful. It hasn't felt too busy, but I also haven't really had much of a lull either. It's been nice and consistent. And people still do seem to come in waves. You'll kind of be frantically ringing your bell, trying to wave people down for a while, and then there gets to be a period where they sort of just seem to come over on their own. Now, we haven't seen Grandpa, but this lady who pays double the price for items has shown up twice, so that's nice. That's its own bit of luck, I suppose. And once I sell out of those yellow pepper seeds, I guess the next thing that's going to replace it is going to be strawberries, because I've been growing strawberries all season, and I'm probably going to end up with quite a few seeds by the end of it. Now, I'm going to let this guy have it for free. I could make him pay double, but I think we're doing alright. And after that customer, I am going to put my necklace out. I don't want to wait too long. I do like to try and save it more towards the end, but we've only got about 2 hours left. And I feel like if I leave it for too long, it might not have a buyer. But thankfully, somebody came and swooped it up right away, which is amazing. A little bit of soup, a couple of potatoes, and then it will just be seeds left. And we just hit the $200,000 mark, so we have officially smashed the goal. We're actually exceeding it. And thankfully, I have some plans on ways to spend that money today as well. It's not all just gonna kind of sit there. The last hour here. Any other sales at this point is just gravy. And I do like that timing. That's kind of what I was hoping for, is running out of stock closer to the end of the bazaar. Not just feeling like I have to rely on seeds until closer to the end. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just kind of my own personal preference. Almost at 220 now. And we're gonna get just past that as we close 6 o'clock on the dot, which I think is some pretty spectacular timing. So I'm happy with that. The 5 in this equation kind of screws it up. $222,665 is going to be our finishing total for the day. And now we can go out and spend our own money. I'm gonna to go see Lloyd, and I'm going to buy myself 3 pieces of gold and 3 pieces of silver. Now, if I have to buy both ores to make our necklaces, they are obviously worth much less because you have to recoup the value of the ores that you're buying. But I'm still gonna do it anyways. It's still a net profit. It's a good way for me to get rid of the gems in my inventory. It's still worth more money than selling the gems on their own. And I have money to burn. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy 3 of each so that I can make myself 3 more necklaces. And there's not really a whole lot else of interest today. But I did do a little bit of testing. I spoke about this in the last video, where I was gonna find out why Felix wasn't selling me the items that I need to train my animals, because that is something that I am interested in doing. And yes, it does turn out that you do have to buy the fishing rod and the skateboard in order for him to replace those with the cat bell and the dog bone, which just irritates me. I wish that he would rotate between those items. It's not like where we were buying tools in the beginning and tools were locked behind each other. I just feel like the skateboard isn't essential and the other things that I'm wanting aren't necessarily essential either. So why Felix can't vary it up a little bit each week, I couldn't tell you. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to add 2 paperweights to our storage. The fishing rod, don't get me wrong, I will get some use out of. Skateboard, no, never. At least the fishing rod's cheap, and if I end up with a lot of spare copper ore, I can upgrade that to get some better fish, and it will allow me to also get the medium fish. I can cast my line a little bit further and I can work on my fishing log, so that's at least somewhat useful. And I've also decided that I'm gonna go ahead and buy some wheat. I can grow these in the basement. They take a long time, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to not fill up my basement, but maybe do 3 or 4 rows, do about half of my basement, and leave the other half for other crops that I want to grow. And I think it'll be a good fit down there because it will grow spring, summer, and fall. So even if I decide to play around with the different suns, and I do change the weather down there, it shouldn't matter. It should still keep growing. So why not? We're gonna buy that. And then, just for the heck of it, I am also going to buy myself another cat. And if I had thought of it earlier, I probably would have named the cats Ebony and Ivory, like Dante's guns in Devil May Cry. But I didn't think of it. I was thinking of my own cats. So I'm going to name this cat after one of my other cats that I own, Bandit. And I didn't buy any other farm animals this time around. Just decided to get myself another cat. May get myself another dog somewhere down the line as well. And then, of course, the last thing I'm going to pay for is some wrapping paper. I've brought along 5 frogs for Antoinette and 7 butterflies for Freya and Daisy. You can see that today Diego is not selling any sons whatsoever, so his inventory does change each week. Sometimes you're out of luck, but he should sell them all year. So if you didn't get it last time, don't worry, you haven't missed out or anything. And I think that's about it. Definitely did not spend as much money as I made. But figured we had the money to spend on some things. Definitely wish that I could just throw the skateboard out. I don't think you can sell it because it's considered a tool. However, it's a necessary evil because hopefully that means next week Felix will have some of the pet training tools available for us. Which is something I've been trying to get out of him for a while now. And good ol' Enrique is of course gonna drop by. And the pets kind of seem to go through feed pretty quickly. They go through pet food a lot faster than the chickens go through feed or the barn animals go through fodder, I feel like. But again, at this stage of the game, with how much money we have, I really don't think adding another pet is going to break the bank or be too much for me to take care of or anything like that. I don't have it in my inventory. I think I have it in my storage, but I already have quite a bit of pet food stockpiled. And they'll just help me with my animals. Now, we were pretty close last week, but we made quite a bit more than we did last week. So, fortunately, we're further along. There's about a 50k gap between second place and first place this time, which feels a little bit more comfortable. I'm happy with that, I'll take it. It would be fun to work with you, although I'm sure you don't need my help. Sometimes it gets kind of crazy, but I have been managing okay. Another successful week. Another week of being on top, having the best reputation, and getting ourselves an extra prize. Thanks, Felix. It's always work harder with you, isn't it? It's never enough for you. One last week of spring. I guess I should have also mentioned that it's Daisy's birthday on Wednesday, so it's a good idea to get a gift wrapped for her, but I was already wrapping gifts anyways, so I'll have something for her. And aside from a couple of birthdays this week, we have our tea party on Saturday. At this point, I'm not sure if my tree seed is going to actually give me any tea leaves before the end of the season. But even if that were the case, if we didn't have our own tea leaves to give up, fortunately, we've just been given a can of tea that I think we would be able to enter. Definitely something worth looking into. So I'm excited to have one last festival and one last bazaar to kind of kick things off before we head into summer. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.